Welcome to the Teach the Children Homeschool podcast. I'm your host, Laura Battles, and I am here today with another amazing guest. I'll introduce him here in a minute, but I just wanted to let you guys know that the podcast is sort of an extension of the convention. We're at the convention. They have all these vendors. You have a short amount of time, and you don't get to really interact with them a ton. And so you're left with the convention going, oh man, I wish I could talk to that person more. I wish I could get to know that resource more. So that's what this podcast is about. And we're going to be here today with Sean Bohnet from Bohnet Music Academy. And I always say where you're from incorrectly. I always say you're from the Russia town, not the Idaho town. So where are you from?
Well, I think you might have said it right. It's Moscow, Idaho.
Moscow.
Which is,
okay.
That's right. So when we think about Russia, we say Moscow. But when you listen to them on the news, it's like Moscow, Russia.
Yes.
So we say it like they say it.
Okay.
So if you want to be a true local, you say Moscow.
Moscow. Okay.
Moscow. Imagine like the W got ejected out of the game and it was just left with the CO, like a company.
Okay. Moscow. Okay, I can do that. I always say it wrong, and then everybody, especially the people who've gone to like WSU or University of Idaho, they come at me and they're like, "You say it wrong," and I'm like,
"Yeah,
sorry."
Yeah, then you don't have any friends and you're not welcomed anymore. It's a bummer. So congratulations, you can now join the in-group.
Yeah, awesome. I'm glad. that was my goal in life, is to be a part of the WSU Idaho in-group.
Yeah, good. We need more people.
Well, I introduced you. I want you to tell me a little bit about who you are and your family. I met you 2 years ago at the Paideia conference.
I think so.
And yeah, you were there, and I have seen your family grow since then. So you had at that time one little child, little baby, and now you have two, right?
Yeah.
All right,
so
tell me about them.
Grapes. They just keep coming in bunches, which is fun.
It's awesome.
And you never know when twins might strike. Yeah, I mean, we don't have twins currently, but you just never know when they might strike. I have twin sisters myself.
So that is a true possibility for you.
I mean, we have a redheaded child, so but he's not a stepchild, and we love him as if he's our own. We don't discriminate against the redheaded children here. The children keep multiplying, and we are trying to flex the recessive gene, so we might get twins sometime soon, and that'd be good.
Yeah. So you have two kids. How long have you guys been married for?
Going on 9 years.
9 years. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Almost in the double digits.
That's right. It gets better every day.
Yeah. I'm 20 years, so I am past the teenage, the teenage years of marriage into the adulthood.
It's time to start being responsible.
Yes. I guess that's one way.
Making good choices. And considering where you want to go in life. Isn't that what you do at that time?
Right. So what kind of music exposure did you have growing up, and how has that has that influenced how you're going to teach your kids music, or were you exposed at all to music growing up, and this is something that God just put on your heart to do? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Like everyone, it's kind of a funny question because everyone is exposed to music, but the way in which they're exposed and called to participate with it is very different.
Yes.
And that kind of fascinating. You're never going to meet anyone who hasn't been exposed to music because it's all around us.
Right.
You go shopping, you go to the coffee shop, you're in the car, you're in your home, you're at church. Everywhere there is music. And by the way, we're actually living on a singing planet and solar system and universe. So you can't go anywhere without getting slapped by it and being exposed to it. So for me growing up, I went to public school. And so I had a lot of exposure and experiences there. Public schools have a lot of music classes and programs. Not always all the best, but at least a lot of them, and my family was pretty into music, like classic rock, especially. So always music playing and being done, especially at school. And so I think like everybody loves music and has been captured by it. to
Mm-hmm.
differing degrees. And you know this because in conversation with somebody, if you're talking about your favorite song and you're like, you could go wrong in two ways. One, you could say, I've never heard that song before. And then you get asked why you live under a rock and no one's
Right.
ever loved you and if you might ever want to join society. These are the questions. Or even worse, if you more than just have you not heard the song, if you don't like the song,
Oh.
all of a sudden you don't have a friend anymore. You were friends and now you're not friends. So I think I'm as a normal person that I love music. Was doing music here and there, like in choir, and everyone kind of picks up Guitar Hero and Rock Band and buys a guitar and learns
Mm-hmm.
to play it. But I wouldn't say it was until later high school, early college that I decided I wanted to take it more seriously and start pursuing it as a profession.
Cool. Awesome. So is that how you started then Bohnet Music Academy, is from college and wanting to pursue music, and then it just blossomed from there?
Yeah, two bugs bit me at that time. One was the music bug,
Okay.
and the other one was the teaching bug.
Mm.
And they're very venomous bugs where it just kind of gets deep into the blood and into the bones. So, yeah, about that time, started to get really passionate, gathering a vision, and pursuing what excellent teaching, specifically music education, could look like. And so it was
Mm.
about that time I started mapping and scheming how I could bring this all together. And from there, did a lot of uh, teaching here and there. And later on, wanted to multiply it
Mm.
into something larger than myself, specifically a school and an academy.
Cool. Cool. So did your wife come along this journey with you, or had this already started when you got married to her?
It was around the same time.
Okay.
She was a pretty musical gal herself. Grew
Mm.
up doing some band things and
Cool.
playing in like band, like in school band, and then
Okay.
also like garage band and
Cool.
worship band and
Okay.
stuff. She's a percussionist.
Mm.
So yeah, she was there with me right from the start, and just being a rock star of a wife, a great helpmeet, and supporting me as I'm pursuing that.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. I know that you are one of the hits at the convention, so people appreciate you coming and showcasing Bonet and what it does. And so we'll talk a little bit more about how people can get connected to you and some of the things you offer. But I know at the convention you talked about how music should be the centerpiece in your home and some biblical reasons behind that. Elaborate on that. Tell me more about how it can be the centerpiece in your home, some of the biblical reasons, and then sort of how we can go about doing that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would first start with the why it should be a centerpiece, and that's primarily because it's a centerpiece in Scripture.
Hmm.
As Christians, we do as God does. That really drives everything, and we know this intuitively and from our biblical knowledge because take the verse as the example. We love God because He loved us first. Everything stems from something that God does, and
Hmm.
then He calls us to do it likewise, primarily because we're made in His image and are to reflect Him.
Cool.
That's the name of the game for the Christian.
Hmm.
God does it, so I do it. So
Right.
God loves, I love. God shows mercy, I show mercy. God has compassion, I have compassion. God
Hmm.
is truth, I live truth.
Hmm.
And God is musical, and so am I.
Cool.
And so you see this is the way that the Christian operates. And God is very rich and abundant. So there's so many things to reflect and do
Hmm.
thereafter God. But it's not as if it's here's a checklist of 100 things you must do to properly reflect God. In fact, in every thing that you do, you can house it all with one fell swoop.
Right.
Right? Just think about man. He is made with so many complicated things tied up in one. Like I'm just a person. You're a person. But within that one person, there are many things happening and being displayed at once. And we can do that. We can reflect God in the manifold ways all the time. And just like God does that too in the Trinity, Father, Son, and Spirit, three
Mm-hmm.
persons in the one God. And so God is abundant, and we are to reflect that in abundance. The neat thing about music is it's something that is an incredible work of God, a work of worship of us to God. So, first and foremost, worship is like our primary calling. Man's primary purpose is to glorify God and
Mm-hmm.
to enjoy Him forever.
Yes.
Now, one of the most specific, high adoration ways that we glorify God is through our worship of Him. And one of the most primary ways we worship God is through singing unto Him. We
Mm-hmm.
see this both as a directive in Scripture and also as examples in Scripture too. Like you see, this happens to Adam. He gets a wife, and so he
Mm-hmm.
sings a song. He proclaims,
Yeah.
"Finally, bone of my bone, flesh of
Right.
my flesh." All of a sudden, he's a poet, and he just grabbed a lyre from the ground. uh, and when Moses and the children of
Mm.
Israel they cross through the Great Sea, I mean, the most action-packed
Right.
scene of the Bible, and everyone's like, "All right, so let's get the song going here." And
Yep.
then Exodus 15, it's like a really long chapter and it's just a song.
Yes.
No.
Well, Miriam sings after they cross the river too. She's singing. I can think of
Yeah.
so many times that people sing after something happens. Like even Mary, after she gets told she's going to have a baby, she busts out into a song.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. Music is the praise reflex. You think
Mm-hmm.
about when you go to the doctor and they tap your knee with a hammer, if they still do that. I don't know. I should probably go to the doctor soon. It's been a while. But then the knee just kicks.
Yeah.
And I'm still fascinated by it. Children are super fascinated by it.
Mm-hmm.
What? What? That's so weird. Why does it do that?
Right.
Just a reflex. It's just what
Right.
happens. And so that's the same way with us people too. Praise, singing, making music is a reflex of praise. Anytime something
Mm.
good happens, you want to shout.
Yeah.
Well, that's like, you're halfway to singing by that time.
Cool. So it's super easy and simple to just incorporate it in, so your homeschool, because you can just do essentially anytime something awesome happens at home, you can just sing, like that was awesome and bring it in like that's so awesome song that's out there. My kids sing it all the time. And I'm like,
Oh
that
yeah,
is awesome,
perfect example.
like you can just do something as simple as that. And, you're praising God who did that awesome thing in your house.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Cool. All right. So why do you think it's important to teach our kids music?
Because in the scriptures, we see God constantly teaching us songs and calling us to sing a new song unto
Yeah.
Him. Right. So I think it's in the later part of Deuteronomy. We're in the wilderness. Things are or actually kind of uh, things getting tough in the wilderness. God calls to Moses.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most incredible interactions that we don't know about. Always those funny times and like, hey, did you hear about this story? And it's not just simply a random story, but reflective of a narrative we see throughout. But God goes to Moses and says, "All right, write this song and teach this song to the
Mm.
people, that they might know and not forget my law." And we know this, like everyone knows, like especially
Right.
when you're teaching elementary kids,
Mm-hmm.
music's so good for memory.
Oh yeah.
It's fun.
Yep.
It really just shapes your identity. It's a
Mm-hmm.
cornerstone to your culture. And God knew that. God
Yeah.
knows that because He made
Yeah.
it. And he said to Moses, "Go and teach them this song that they might not rebel against me."
Mm.
So I mean, God's a holy God. He's serious.
Mm-hmm.
He wants His people to obey Him. And so He thought, well, let me use music
Mm.
to do that. Oftentimes we think of music as a side thing, an extracurricular, a hobby. Well, God found it fit to use it as a primary means to get His people to obey Him and know Him. So that's pretty inspirational to me.
Yeah.
That inspires me
Yeah.
to use music and think, okay, well, I should teach my children music, not only for the sake of it being a centerpiece to worship, but also a centerpiece to knowing the Lord.
hmm Well, I think of times in the past when I've tried to teach my kids memorizing of Bible verses.
Hmm.
The best way that they remember it is they set it to songs. So a lot of times we'll do
Yeah.
it to a simple nursery rhyme, like Twinkle Twinkle, and we'll try to fit a Bible verse into that. And those are the ones we still remember, even though I taught them like 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So it's like anything that you can set to a tune seems to stick in their heads. It sticks in my head, and I'm getting old, so my brain is all mushy and everything. But
Mm.
anything that's set to music, you seem to remember something, just the cadence, and you just. So if you want to teach your kids at home, music should be there because it can help not only with learning Bible stuff, but it can be, times tables. It can be science, the periodic table, all those things. And then you're incorporating music. Don't make it you're saying don't make it a side, like something you do like once a week. It should be throughout the week.
Yeah, you'll have much healthier children if you do that.
Yeah, agreed. So, what do you think about hymns? Should we do more of them at home? Should we do less? I think personally, they're great. I love hymns. They're theologically rich. I love teaching them. We usually go through one a month and we learn the song and then I teach them like who the author is and some of that. But what do you think about hymns? Should we do more of those? Incorporate
Yeah.
those?
Yeah, of course. Do you like cage-free chickens or cage chickens? Do you
Well,
like organic grass-fed beef or beef that
right.
they just turned out from a factory machine? Uh, so I say that like you can think of music as a type of nutrition and sustenance,
Mm-hmm.
right? Would you rather just eat saltine crackers all day, or would you rather have a freshly baked sourdough?
Mm-hmm.
We can have both for
Yeah.
sure. But what if one was more the engine behind your diet,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
that's the thing when you think about a hymn is typically a sermon in song, or it's a psalm in
Mm-hmm.
song too. And there's a certain amount of artistry and craftsmanship and focus that goes into hymns, both in their words and music. And so if you could have the better, take it.
Mm-hmm. Do
If
you
you could
guys
have more of it, do it.
do you guys at your church modernize hymns or do you guys keep them traditional?
Yeah, we keep them traditional,
Okay.
primarily because our forefathers have written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Let's
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'm sorry, let me say thousands and thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of them for us in a style that's so fitting for the
Mm-hmm.
church, right?
Yeah.
The church is a body and it's made up of people. And I don't know if you knew this, but everyone's walking around with a $7 million instrument and it's called their voice.
Mm.
And so when I'm at church, I'd love to, I already have my choir and my band right there. It's the people.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear them, and the music that's written in hymns is made for them too. It's made for them to be
Mm-hmm.
sung. It's made for people to hear them as they sing it, where you've got parts to sing.
Yes.
And so um, it's kind of like they wrote it with a specific purpose and intention. It wasn't just we're just using what's available today, but we're using what is the centerpiece of worship, which is the saint's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's amplify that.
Yeah. Love it. So if I have a bunch of kids running around the house,
Good
how do
job.
you do?
You should
I
get an
have three.
award.
You have two. I know some
Yeah.
families that are co-op who have, nine or more.
Yeah.
Um, would you just, what are some ways they can just do some basic music into their daily routines? Would you say, grab a hymn or sing a specific song, or should they do like group piano lessons together? Is there
Yep.
something they can do?
They should do it all.
Right.
So we've got what we call the BMA baby steps.
Okay.
And if you really want music to take off in your home, you can't just simply go sign someone up for music lessons, although you should.
Right.
But it's much bigger than that. It's a family, culture, and
Mm,
identity that happens because you do it. So, for instance, some rhythms you should have is singing around the dinner table because
mm,
you probably already pray.
yeah.
Well, why do you pray? Just kind of 'cause? No, you
Right.
probably have a reason for it. Well, we want to give thanks to God
Mm,
because He's given us this food. We want to give thanks for you guys, who are here fellowshipping with us for His provision, right? That you're thankful. Like you have given us, Lord, our daily bread. Well, hey, it's not a bad idea then just to sing a song of thanksgiving, to bind our
mhm.
voices as one and lift up a praise offering to the Lord.
That's cool.
So sing before you eat.
Okay.
You can start with just supper. You can do it for breakfast too,
Yeah.
maybe even lunch if you're feeling a little crazy.
Right.
So like that's the first BMA baby step. Sing around
Cool.
the table.
And I did go to your website and look. Those BMA baby steps, they're on your website, correct?
I hope so, unless
I
the
think
government.
so. I think I saw that. So if someone did want to get them, they could go out to your website. They can take a look at you and at these baby steps,
Yeah,
and be like, this one's I can do these ones and get going.
yeah, yeah. And what you'll find and there's a video series accompanying them, just kind of giving you some encouragement, a little bit like what we're doing here, Laura, where it's
Yeah.
like the why. Why? So you're here, you want to do music more, you want to sing more.
Hmm.
Well, that's a good thing, and I want to tell you again that's a good thing, and
Yeah.
so that's encouraging too. And there's song packets there for free as well. So you're like,
Cool.
okay, I'm ready to sing around the supper table.
Yeah.
What do I sing? Well,
Okay.
here's a supper song packet.
Right.
Here's 12 songs. Go learn them. Go get them.
Right. And if supper is busy, a lot of us who listen to this podcast are going to be homeschoolers. So if
Yeah,
supper time is, busy, then do it at lunchtime,
yeah,
or breakfast time, whatever time you guys sit around the table and together do a more powwow, do the singing then. Incorporate it in what you're already doing. Don't try to add so much more to your schedule and to your day that you're overwhelmed. This should just be something that flows naturally from what you're already doing.
yeah. And be encouraged. You can tack music on to anything. Like I
Yeah.
give you license, I give you permission, I bless you to do that in the
Cool.
name of the Lord. And guess what? Everyone does it already. We go to the
Yeah.
baseball game, we sing the national anthem.
Right.
You know, like we go
Yeah.
to a birthday party, we're singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
No one, got a rehearsal together and said, hey guys, let's do
Yeah.
this because man is musical. And at one time, even at the bar, hey, let's go to the pub, let's sing some songs. There's a lot of really good music that
Right.
came from that tradition as well. So
Yeah.
we're talking about 1% of 1% of 1% of your day and
Hmm.
time to do this. You
Yeah.
know, to sing the doxology takes like 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for an hour yet.
We have started in our house. We just started this week, so it's very new. But
Ooh,
we
fresh.
have started doing at 9, noon, and 3, pausing and saying the Lord's Prayer,
Mm-hmm.
my kids and I. And it's been really an interesting activity to do with them, to pause whatever and stop whatever we're doing. The four of us come together. If my husband is at home, he'll join us. But it's been interesting to see how that works. And I feel like now maybe we should also sing the doxology. I love the doxology.
Oh, it's a banger.
Oh my gosh. I
As
love
the
it
youth.
when our church sings it a cappella. Like when they start us off, it gives us, make sure that we're all in the same key. So it's
Yeah.
not, pick your own key and then we all sing doxology. But oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no more priceless instrument out there than
Yeah.
you. Like, how much would you give me for your life? Starting
Right.
at 2 million, 2 million. Do I hear 3 million,
Right.
3 million, 4 million? Like, name your price. There's not an instrument that you would trade for you.
Right.
And when we get together as the body of Christ, just think about what we're throwing in the pot. That's a
Hmm.
lot of value. I want to hear that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to hear that.
I can't wait till when we go to heaven and all the saints from all of the time get together and sing. Like
Yeah.
I know there'll be other things that we're doing up there, but how cool it will be when we sit down and we finally all sing. Like,
Yeah. We'll
I
have
don't know.
glorified bodies and voices.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that.
See you there.
All right. So, homeschooling families on a budget. Can they come to you? Is there a way to get you and get access to you? how do they get to Bohnet and all that you have to offer?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. No matter what your budget is, we have something for you in many different ways. So first of all, quote unquote, everyone has $100. So we have
Hmm.
a piano video course that's only $96. This is a pre-recorded 80 videos, everything you need to know about reading music, learning songs, playing it
Cool.
on the piano, loving music, considering the story and emotion of it. 30 week, a 32-week course, kind of like a school year
Okay.
for $96.
Okay.
So, if you're considering what you have to buy for curriculum and
Hmm.
materials, like here is your live interactive workbook.
Okay.
So that's always a good place to start, especially if cash is tight.
Hmm.
People will often uh, incorporate that with a hybrid lesson. So
Okay.
you study the piano course for 3 weeks, and then the fourth week, you have a live lesson with a professor who checks in on how you're doing,
Cool.
encourages you, corrects you,
Okay.
say, keep going, you're on that, you're on the right path. And the course is built to work with that. So you get like a bonus catch up week on that fourth week. That's your
Okay.
lesson week. And then we have our weekly lessons where we're training you both in an instrument plus the voice. So like it's piano lessons, but it's also singing lessons.
Oh,
It's
cool.
guitar lessons, but it's also singing lessons as
Oh,
well.
okay.
And so especially like in the piano video course and the hybrid program, those are all very affordable, kind of no matter where you're at. And then we're always happy to work with families who see the value in it. So we need to do that.
Hmm.
Well, good. Let's figure out what we can do.
Cool. Cool. And you did say you have a hybrid option. So those of us here locally in the Tri-Cities or even, Washington, we can't get direct access to you. We can go online and do Zoom classes.
Yep, that's right. We're
Perfect.
teaching in over 30 states
Wow.
online, and so
Cool.
the name of our game is online lessons in addition to local ones here
Okay.
in Idaho, because we know there's many families out there who live remotely
Yes.
or who live in a giant urban city, and so it basically you feel like you're an island or
Yes.
you're remote.
Yeah.
So getting somewhere takes forever. Finding something
Hmm.
is very hard. And let's just say you have 4 children. Well, all of
Right.
a sudden, now you're a traveling circus.
Yes.
And, we want to schedule our tours appropriately so we don't
Right.
wear ourselves out. And so, what if we could all just come straight to
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
and you get the quality and Christian environment and the thoroughness that you're after
Hmm.
just right away? Well, that
Cool.
would be really handy.
Yeah. Anywhere that I can take my all three of my kids and get something done at the same time is what I like to do.
That's called a win.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
If I
So
have
what if
to
you could put
do
them back to back and touch a button or two?
Yes. Anytime that they're like, "Oh, we can have one kid this day and another kid this day." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not going to work." Like that
What if we did
sounds
all the kids
awful.
at the same day at the same
Yes.
time?
So with that, what all do you guys teach? You said you've touched on piano and guitar and voice.
Yep.
What else
Yep.
do you guys teach?
We do all the other main instruments alongside of that. So think violin,
Okay.
cello, bass, percussion,
Okay. Cool.
trumpet.
And I saw on your website, is Misty Winkler's son one of your music instructors?
He is. He's a longtime professor and
Okay.
fantastic teacher.
Yeah, I was browsing through there last night and I was like, wait, wait,
I
wait.
know
That's a
that
very
name.
unique last name. And so I was like, it has to be.
Yeah.
That's cool because they live in that area too.
Yep, that's right. So that's where they hail from, and it's one thing that's really important to me that I was talking about a little bit at the beginning
Hmm.
was multiplying, right?
Yeah.
More than just what I could do on my own. You can go further with a team, right? You can
Hmm.
run more with a team.
Yeah.
They do this all the time in sports, and if you choose your team and you build your team correctly,
Hmm.
you're really unstoppable. And our professors are really world class. Like they
Cool.
go through intense interview training or
Mm.
interview process, training process,
Cool.
development process. We stay in constant collaboration, refinement. So it's not just like a few different pods
Right.
next to each other. We're teaching with each other so
Okay.
that we can give the most tailored, um, right, both connection and content delivery to your student, because every student is different,
Yeah.
both what they need, like in a personality wise, and how they need to be talked to,
Mm-hmm.
but also in how they need it explained and shown and the pace. So one-on-one lessons lend themselves to that. So that's fantastic. And then
Yeah.
if you have a teacher who's sharp on those things, that's also what we call a win.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I was looking at your list of who all your teachers online, and I was like, this looks like just an A class bunch of people who are teaching, and the ones that have come to the convention with you, and I've seen at other conventions, I'm like, they are just wonderful to be around. They just know what they're talking about. They're nice to talk to. I have been thoroughly impressed um, by everybody you bring with you. So,
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that.
yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about real quick?
I think we covered really good things. I think
Yeah.
I just want to wrap it up by saying you were made musical.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with you. You're not missing anything except for maybe time in the ring, right?
Okay.
Like no one's tone deaf. Everyone's capable of music. However, if you've been musically fat
Right.
and sassy, you haven't really done anything
Right.
education wise or experience wise. You look in the mirror and say, well, not me. Well,
Yeah.
no, you just need to look in the mirror and say, not yet. It's because you
Yes.
haven't done anything,
Yeah.
right? So jump in with a
Mm-hmm.
baby step. Take and step, not
Yes.
a step, just one and
Yeah.
a little step, and start building that culture because we people
Yeah.
are really capable of a lot of good work.
Mm-hmm.
We were made to walk in good works, and this is a good work for you, and you can walk in it. You can change the generations that are going to
Yes.
follow you.
Mm-hmm.
Like reverse the musical desert to an oasis. It can
Yes.
start with you. So
That's
go get
cool.
them, honey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that my parents bought a piano and they made me do piano lessons when I was littler. And then
Hmm.
when I got into middle school and high school, I sort of didn't do them anymore. But I
And
fell
now
in
you're
love with
good.
music at that point. And so now I'm teaching to my kids and they're getting
Yeah.
introduced to hymns and they're going to take it on to their kids. And so it just leaves this amazing legacy. And we're called in Deuteronomy to teach our children to pass that knowledge so that we don't forget because we are forgetful people and we
Don't
do.
forget.
Yeah, and if I don't teach my kids something that I was taught, I think it's like they say within 2 generations it's forgotten.
Yeah.
2 generations ago our grandparents were all farmers and now not very many people farm anymore. So it gets
Yeah.
lost so
I can't
easily.
even plant a ficus.
Huh?
I said I can't even plant a ficus.
Right?
Just a
I
big
do
plant.
some gardening, but I go out there and I'm always surprised that something is growing. I'm like, oh, look, my tomatoes.
My grandpappy would be
Right.
so proud of me.
Right? And he's like, oh my gosh, I planted a whole field of tomatoes. This is easy. What are you talking about? And I even go and buy starters too. So I'm always like, man, I couldn't even get it going from a seed. I had to have someone else start this plant. And then I just take over and I'm like, look what I did. And they're like, not really.
Funny.
Cool. And I was going to say, oh man, I hope it comes back to me. If not, that's okay. I was going to say something about teaching our kids and that anybody can do it. And you're right, because it is something that I think a lot of homeschooling moms are intimidated to teach music. How can I even teach when it's not something I know? But it just starts with just introducing songs and that kind of thing. Oh, and going online to your baby steps, which they can get online. I noticed you have a summer program.
Hmm.
People can get involved with too, so they can hook up with you for the summer.
Yeah, we just started our summer term,
Okay.
and the water is fine. This
Yeah.
summers. I've been talking to person after person after person about we love summer because it lets us get into the routine,
Hmm.
figure all this new habit stuff out
Yeah.
before the more intense times of the fall. So do it
Yeah.
now while the going is good,
Yeah.
and you've got the space to try something new.
Hmm.
Like that's what I love about summer lessons, and
Yeah.
they're flexible too. If you need to do some travel, we work our schedule with that grain, so
Okay.
you're not going to miss a thing.
Well, that's good to know because there is a lot of travel. So I think a lot of people don't want to do summer things for that, and be tied in. But if you know that I can be flexible with it, then sign up, get it going.
Boom.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for talking today with me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. It was
Yeah.
a joy to be on.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up here. As always, you can find Teach the Children on Facebook and Instagram under Teach the Children Homeschool Resource Center, or just Teach the Children TC. I'll link all this in the show notes. I will link Sean and all his stuff in the show notes so you can go out and find him. Go look at find him, dig him up, and just really dig into what he's been talking to today. You can find all that information on his website. I have been blessed by looking at your website. So thank you again, Sean, for being here. And we'll be in touch.
All right, wonderful. God bless you. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, guys. See you next time.